I tighten the wrench until the teeth bite metal. He steps into my light like he owns it. Suit sharp, smile dull. Failure, he says, tapping the half-born engine. I don't look up. I wipe oil from my knuckles and check clearances. Timing mark. Dead on. He keeps talking. I count the bolts, 1 to 8. The lamp hums. The flywheel clicks once. I set the wrench down and reach for the cutoff. His reflection lands in the chrome like a stain. My wife's photo watches, from the shelf. He leans closer. You could have been a surgeon. Instead, you played with junk. I breathe through my nose and test the belt with my thumb. No slack. The study smells like hot dust and old coffee. He wants the vault, not the man. I find the switch with 2 fingers. Dad, be reasonable. I kill the light. He didn't want a father. He wanted a vault. If you want to see what I do next and how a clean boundary sounds when it clicks shut, subscribe. Dawn lifts a thin gray over the lake. I fold shirts once, tools next. Wrench wrapped in an old shop rag. 1 duffel. The mansion carries sound in odd ways. Floor settles, heat kicks. My steps don't echo. I clear the desk. Photo of my wife into the side pocket. Registration slips, a pen that always starts. Kitchen. Empty fruit bowl. A single mug ring on the counter. I wipe it with my sleeve. In the foyer, the key rack waits. 6 hooks, 5 bare. I take the last brass one and feel the notch I filed years ago. The front door opens to cold air and wet stone. The drive is black glass. I lock the door. Turn the key once more to feel it answer. I hang it on the hook. It clicks like a small verdict. Garage. The sedan coughs, then steadies. Oil light stays dark. Gate rolls open. Tires find the road. The house shrinks in mirrors until it looks like a model someone forgot to dust. Highway. Lines unspool. I keep my hands at 10 and 2. The glove box rattles. Air gets drier. The sky trades steel for bone white. Do you leave the key hanging where they can see it, or pocket it so they never forget you had it? Mile markers flip. Rest stop. I fill the tank and my pockets with receipts. Paper is proof. Proof keeps stories honest. Back on the road. City billboards give up. Empty land starts to talk. Wind off flat ground. I let the radio die. I listen to the engine. A belt sings in a key I know by heart. I pass a wrecking yard. Sun hits fenders stacked like scales. I count seconds between mile posts to keep time steady. State line. The welcome sign is bleached. I roll the window down and taste dust. In the distance, a cluster of roofs the color of rust. A water tower with a ladder locked halfway up. Santa Fe. The street grid breaks into sand and rumor. I follow a hand-painted sign. Garage, as is. The building slumps but stands. Adobe skin. Tin roof. 1 bay door stuck a foot off the ground. Inside smells like old rubber and a mouse nest. A single window cuts a bright stripe through the dark. I set the duffel on a bench with a sway in the middle. The sway holds. When a place looks ready to fail, do you walk away or test the one beam that still holds? County office. Fluorescent buzz. A clerk slides a packet across the counter. Foreclosure. Cash. Sign here. Initial here. Stamp here. Her date stamp thumps like a slow heartbeat. I slide a receipt into the document sleeve and tape the top edge against grit. Outside. The wind pushes grit across my boots. I breathe in. It tastes clean enough to start over. Back at the garage, I sweep a line down the center of the floor and call it neutral. Left for storage, right for work. Window up. Door chains greased. Bench leveled with a folded catalog. I hang a single key on a nail by the door and write "shop" on masking tape under it. I say it out loud so the walls learn my voice. One thing no one can take. The space answers with a slight echo, indicating yes. If I can build one thing that no one can take, I'll be fine. What do you hang on the first nail, the key, or the promise tied to it? I clear a square of the bench and lay out the document sleeve. Laptop wakes. Inbox pings stacked like nails in a jar. Subject lines from his office. Quick bridge? Temporary gap. One last push. I open the oldest. 6 years ago. He advised I consolidate cards under my name for credit health. Next email, same month, a notarized request to add him as emergency signer. The notary stamp is clean. My signature is genuine. My judgment wasn't. Ledger export. Columns breathe in gray lines. I sort by memo. The word bridge repeats in different fonts. Same hand behind all of them. Receipts I kept out of habit became a map. Coffee ring on a consulting contract where the fee changed after we shook hands. Voicemail transcript. Dad, it's time sensitive. It's family. No terms, no caps, no collateral. I mark each instance with a red tag, extraction. The tags look like fresh scabs. When the pattern spells itself in your own handwriting, do you forgive the past or fix the future? I pull calls from the carrier portal. Duration, timestamps, who rang whom. 2 days before my wife's surgery, his company drew 5 transfers labeled friend loan. He called me 10 times that week. I picked up 9. Open another folder. A smiling PDF pitch deck with the family name on the cover. On slide 14, my engine sketches sit as historic inspiration. No attribution. Side-by-side windows, my date-stamped file name. His slide's creation date, 30 hours later. I screen capture the comparison and drop it into a folder named Boundary. Another transcript. We'll paper it after. Just wire first. I write on a sticky note. No more after. Paper first. I stick it to the laptop lid so I can see it before I type. If they borrow your blueprints to sell a future you never promised, do you argue or archive the proof and move? Bank portal. I scroll through the courtesy auto pays I set up and forgot. HOA dues that weren't mine. Insurance for a car I've never driven. I print a summary with totals. The number looks like a down payment on a small town. I mark every courtesy as off. A small joy snaps into place each time the toggle flips. The document sleeve gets heavier. IDs, the deed copy, Zurich's email, patent filings, the sticky note. I tape the sleeve edge against desert dust. I read the last voicemail. Dad, you're the only one I can trust. I answer the room. Trust is for builders. I close the laptop and set the sleeve beside the wrench. Work on one side, proof on the other. This time, the only bridge I build is to someone who earns it. When every receipt proves the smile was a siphon, what do you shut off first, the money or the door? Dust hangs in a slow sheet when the door lifts. Daniel stands there with a backpack, a milk crate of parts, and a stack of notebooks clamped under his arm. We don't talk first. We clear the bench. He sets down the notebooks. The paper edges are worn to felt. I pull the bench light down until the cone of yellow hits the center. Grease pencil, fresh point. I draw a line where the vise owns space. He places a checklist on the left, torque ranges, bearing temps, run in time. Not fancy. Useful. We shake hands over the scarred wood. Callus meets callus. I point to the wall where I taped shop rules. Paper before power. Tools home. Proof or pause. He nods once, takes a pen, adds a fourth. No speeches. When someone respects your rules without asking for exceptions, is that a partner or a mirror you needed? We inventory. He reads off. I answer. Ball in hex. Top drawer. Feeler gauges. By the vise. IR thermometer. On the sill. He opens his crate. Produces a small strobe and a used dial indicator. Borrowed. Returnable. I mount the dial. He squares it without crowding my hands. Notebook rasp. He flips to a page marked with blue tape, Noise Map V2. He lays a transparent overlay on the bench. The last shop's readings, stamped rejected at the top. I don't ask who stamped it. He doesn't explain. We choose a reference casing and chalk 3 alignment marks. Mine in white, his in blue. No one gets lost. Do you trust a resume or the way someone labels a tool they didn't break? We build a ritual. Timer set to 90 seconds for heat soak. The bench light was lowered 2 notches during measurements. Fan on low to keep dust down, not to record wind. He runs the checklist aloud. I run the wrench. Mount snug, snug. Belt deflection, 4 mils. Sensor zeroed, zeroed. He clips the strobe to the frame, kills the overheads, and flashes the timing mark. The paint tick floats at dead center. Notebook rasp again. He writes the number as if someone else will challenge it later. That's the point. He slides me a lab book. Add yours. Different hand, same math. I write neatly. Always have. When the work clicks and no one reaches for credit, do you push harder or finally breathe? We test without a start, dry run, hands on mounts, eyes on clearances. He listens to the room the way I do. Water heater tick, fan bearing dry, 1 floorboard that trips on the way to the door. He sketches the bay as a simple diagram, a rectangle, 2 X's for noise sources, a circle for the engine stand. The map is ugly and correct. I hand him a spare key on a wire ring. Masking tape tag, Lab EA. He doesn't pocket it. He hangs it under shop and writes his initials small under mine. On the wall calendar, I circle Friday. We don't say launch. We write run in. I look at his notebooks. He looks at my sleeve. People said he was done. People said I was done. Good. Next, we stop measuring the room and start measuring what we built. When the mirror shows you the younger man you needed, do you hand him the key or the burden? The sun climbs a square on the far wall. Dust makes the beam visible. We work inside that line. I strip a casing down to bare metal. Paper grit whispers. Edges lose their burrs. Daniel calls out torque values. I answer with the click. 22 Newton meters. Click. 28. Click. We log every move. Checklist ticks stack in neat rows. I file the cradle feet until the stand takes weight without sway. The wall clock skips 5 minutes. We never touch it. I wipe the wrench clean and set it at the same angle each time. Control the tool, control the outcome. I rewrite the note on the lid. No speeches. Results. When the clock starts obeying your work instead of the other way round, do you add another hour or remove one excuse? Bearing seats. Cold press. Blue dye line to test even contact. We roll the shaft once. No scrape. Strobe catches the timing mark steady. I measure belt deflection, 4 millimeters, repeatable. Daniel reads the noise map from the last run. We mark 2 hot spots on the floor with tape. Fan stays on low, dust settles where it should. I swap to a softer mount bushing. Vibration drops a hair on the gauge. Notebook rasp. He writes 0.7 dB and circles it. Not victory, direction. The sun's beam moves 2 inches. We shift the stand so the heat doesn't lie to us. If a fix only buys you a fraction, do you bank it or chase the next fraction before you breathe? I clean the fuel rail until I can see my thumbprint fade in it. We purge the line with air, then prime. No drips. Daniel lays a finger on the casing and counts my breaths. I count his. Pace sinks. Hands stop competing. We built a 3-step start plan on the whiteboard. 1. Dry roll 30 seconds. Listen for scrape. 2. Ignition at minimum feed. Kill if spike crosses line A. 3. Hold at 900 RPM for 90 seconds. Log temp, noise, draw. I tape Zurich's email to the wall, not as a trophy, but as a witness. I speak it once. No speeches. We both nod. When the plan is clean enough to survive panic, do you trust the plan or the man holding the cutoff? Sunlight reaches the window frame and stops. The shop goes from bright to clear. I set the final cover. 4 bolts, cross pattern. Daniel checks the cutoff and stands where he can see my eyes. I put the wrench down, teeth away from me, handle toward him. Either of us can take it. Checklist. Tick, tick, tick. The wall clock sweeps to the half hour. I rest my hand on the frame and feel only my pulse. Good. I look at the note on the lid. Results. I reach for the switch. If it hums, we're free. When your hand is on the start and the room believes you, do you press for proof or wait for permission that never mattered? I thumb the breaker up. Daniel counts down from 3 with his hand, not his mouth. Ignition. A cough, a brief shiver through the stand, then settle. The decibel meter holds 34 dB at 1 meter. He tilts it. 33.6. IR thermometer reads 41 degrees C, 46 degrees C across the casing. No spike. Amps hover under the red line we marked on tape. We hold at 900 RPM, 90 seconds. I watch the belt seam pass 4 times. No wander, no chew. He films the meter, RPM, and my hand staying off the throttle. 1 take. When the numbers stay inside the lines you drew, do you trust the dial or your gut that wants louder proof? We cut the power, let the fan run, pull the SD card, drop the clip into an edit with only timecode and overlays, dB, RPM, temp, no music, just the hum. I upload. Title, Bench Run 1, Quiet Drive. Comments land fast. Fake loop, microphone trick, it's just an idle. I pin the raw file in the parts list. Daniel flips the board to run 2, 1400 RPM target, same gate. We rerun it. Meter reads 38 dB, casing climbs to 57 degrees C, then plateaus. We post run 2 with the same rules. When doubt is loud and the machine is quiet, do you argue in text or stack proof until the noise runs out? Inbox chimes with the same rhythm as the meter ticks, then a different tone. Zurich. Subject line, quiet drive, call? We open a video window. A woman in a plain shirt, hair tied back, no small talk. Show us the meter live, she says. We do. Open casing temp. We shoot the IR readout. Hold at 1400, kill on my word. We hold. She counts 15 under her breath. Kill. The room returns to the wind and the fan. Email your logs. Today. I send the binder, checklists, overlays, raw clips. When a stranger speaks your shop language without flattery, do you guard the door or slide the sleeve across? Bank app buzzes. Wire incoming. $25,000. Reference, Quiet Drive Fund. I don't touch the number twice. I took a screenshot once for the record. County office, desert afternoon. Cashier's check to deed office. 50 acres, structures included. The clerk stamps paid on a folder thick as a brick. Overhead drone on the drive back. Rust grass. A long, low workshop with light on both sides. We roll the bay door. Air flows like a thought you don't have to force. I set the phone face down and listen to the echo change as the space fills with us. On the wall, I hang the deed folder under Label A. I didn't pop champagne, I tell Daniel. I bought silence and sunlight. I didn't pop champagne. I bought silence and sunlight. When the wire clears and the deed is warm in your hand, do you spend on applause or on a room that lets the work speak? County dust on my boots, sleeve on the counter, tape hiss as I open it flat. List on the first page. Ownership, control, escrow, witness. 4 boxes, no speeches. I file utility patent claims through USPTO, claims, drawings, and declaration. E-filing receipt prints. I slide it into the sleeve. Front. Assignment from me to the company dated today. No back doors, no royalty games. Signed, initialed. Daniel signs, work for hire plus IP assignment, not as a subordinate, but as a co-inventor, where his pages prove it. Notary's stamp thumps twice. The ink smell beats perfume. If a thing is worth building, is it worth less than the stamp that proves who built it? Operating agreement on the bench. I cross out founder discretion, replace with fiduciary duty to product safety and team welfare. Two-class voting. Builder seats outrank money seats on technical decisions. Daniel listed CTO with absolute authority. Budget gate on vendors. Veto on changes that raise risk or noise. Vesting schedule. 4 years, 1-year cliff, acceleration only on breach by investors. Independent board member with no blood ties. Name left blank with a deadline to fill. I initial every margin note so no one forgets who made the rule. When legacy and appetite wrestle, who should have the heavier vote? The hands on the tool or the hands on the check? Locks for code, keys for people. Access control matrix, columns for repo, CAD, lab, finance. Daniel, full on repo, CAD out lab, read only on finance. Me, whole on lab, finance, read only on repo, so I never edit by mistake. Vendors, NDA plus, lease privilege badges, expiry auto revoke. Hardware keys labeled Lab A, Lab B, server. I crimp tags, so pliers, not fingers, are required to steal one. We print disaster envelope, off-site escrow for designs and patents, seal it with red tape. The sleeve swallows a flash drive, a list of hashes, and a plain card that reads, "If I'm gone, Daniel is steward. File this." Do you protect what you built from thieves or from the future version of yourself who might get careless? Recorder's window. I lodge an IP assignment notice against my name so no one can claim I hinted otherwise. Stamped slip slides back, instrument number, time to the second. I file a PCT cover sheet, not to boast abroad, but to keep dirty filings from wearing my work like a mask. Insurance desk, D&O for the board, product liability for the shop, key person on Daniel, not me. He needs cover more than I need flowers. Back in the truck, I photograph every stamp and mail the album to myself. Inbox becomes a witness that won't forget. When truth is fragile, do you speak louder or pin it to a ledger that prints in other people's ink? At the bench, I draft a 1-page document titled Boundary. 3 sentences. 1. No loans to family, no guarantees, no, just this once. 2. If you want in, bring proof, not a name. 3. If you break trust, you leave with your shoes and your dignity, nothing else. I sign. Daniel countersigns as a witness. We pin it next to shop rules. I retape the sleeve shut. The hiss sounds like a door ceiling. I hang a new key under GOV and write steward on the tag. It doesn't belong to blood. It belongs to the work. I look at Daniel. If I falter, you file the envelope. He nods once, the kind you can't buy. The work needs a steward, not an heir by habit. When the paper is airtight and the keys are labeled, do you feel lighter or finally ready for the knock that's coming? Gravel crunches, 2 shadows in glass, my son in a blue suit, his wife matching him like a brochure. I open the bay halfway. The engine hums on a test line, steady, not loud. I don't cut it. Visitor badges on a tray. I hold them out. Wear these. He laughs like we're rehearsing. Doesn't reach. I don't move either. He takes the badges. The scanner logs 2 beeps. Access. Visitor. I nod at the wall. Shop rules. He reads the first and blinks at paper before power. We walk without small talk. The hum fills the gaps. When someone arrives expecting a hug and finds a checklist, do you soften the rules or let the rules do the talking? In the workshop, he sets both hands on the bench as if it were a podium. Dad, we're family. Small lift, big return. Keep the Harrison name strong. He glances at the camera dome in the corner, then at Daniel's notebooks. I rest 2 fingers on the bench and answer once. Put it in writing, you don't control. His wife smiles too brightly. We don't need lawyers to talk about love. Great, I say. Then love will sign. The hum does not change, neither do I. When family becomes a coupon code, do you clip it or mark it counterfeit and move on? Daniel steps in with a folder, calm voice. We received these from a friend at the patent bar. He lays out prints. My early drafts on the left, dated, watermarked. On the right, a provisional application from my son's company, filed 30 hours later. Headers match. Phrases match. Even a typo I made matches. I don't look at my son. I look at the timestamp. 02/13/07. I say one line to Daniel, not to them. File our log with counsel. Daniel taps the page bottom. Status, denied. My son swallows and tries a grin. Clerical mix-up. We only wanted alignment. Good, I say. Align with the exit. When a thief calls it a mix-up and shows you your own typo, do you argue the word or point to the clock that proves intent? He reaches for the engine stand. I don't raise my voice. Hands off lab equipment. He freezes. The posted safety rules behind him reflect in the glass. No unbadged touch. His wife shifts tactics. If this goes public, it hurts everyone. Think of the name. I point at run log 14 scrolling on the monitor. This is the name. I slide a single paper across. Term sheet. Family participation. Non-control. Sections highlighted. No board seat. No veto. No IP rights. Audit rights only. He scans and shakes his head. I'm not signing that. Then you're not signing anything here. The hum fills the refusal without effort. When refusal lands like a door half shut, do you wedge it with talk or close it with a hinge you installed weeks ago? He tries a last lean. Don't embarrass me, Dad. We're on thin ice. I step aside so the camera in the corner frames the bench, the rules, the engine, and their badges. Embarrassment is a mirror, I say. You brought yours. Daniel overlays the 2 email headers on the display. My draft, their filing. I gesture to the screen for the lens. No performance, only record. My son reaches for the charm and finds nothing to hold on to. Put it in writing you don't control, I repeat. Same tone, same pace. He doesn't. I angle my body toward the bay and wait for the access log to ping them out. The hum keeps time. He didn't want a partnership. He wanted the keys. When they won't sign what fairness looks like, do you leave the door cracked? Or let the lock teach the lesson? County office at the opening bell. Fluorescents buzz. Counters thud awake. I set the manila envelope flat. Contents. Patent assignment. Edward. Company. An IP transfer. Company. Daniel. Steward. Board resolution. Operating agreement excerpt. Notary journal copy. Clerk checks IDs. The date time prints in the upper right. 08/01/12. Recording, instrument number pending, she says. I sign twice. Daniel signs once, steady hand. The stamp comes down, rubber, ink, pressure, clean as a verdict. I don't speak. The seal does. When the stamp carries farther than a shout, do you add words or let the ink finish the sentence? We step to the filings board. A monitor lists fresh entries in tight black text. Our threads in. Assignment. Quiet drive. Powertrain. 2. D. Kim, steward. A deputy behind bulletproof glass watches us the way construction watches rebar. Necessary, unexcited. I hand Daniel the recorder slip, instrument number, time to the second. Through the sunblind glass doors, gravel pops under tires. I know by the way his impatience drives. I fold the empty envelope once, then twice. Paper makes a soft bone sound. If the whole room now knows what happened, do you still need your voice? Or has the wall already told them? Doors breathe open. My son steps into the bright white heat, his wife a half pace behind. He scans faces, then locks on the clerk, performance looking for a stage. "Dad," he says, smile tight, "let's talk before you do something rash." I turn my shoulder so the lobby cam sees us in frame. Me, Daniel, the board, the window. I hold up the recorder slip so the clerk can read it without leaving her seat. "Recorded," she says, not to him, to the air. He reaches for the envelope in my hand. I let him take the empty one. It crumples wrong, no weight. When a man grabs for the package and finds it hollow, do you explain the trick, or let the hollowness teach him? He pivots to threat. "If you do this, I will go public. Press calls. Family knows you froze us out. The Harrison name?" I lift a finger and point to the filings board again. The case number pulses once as the system refreshes. Besides it, a second line populates. Notice. Provisional rejection. Harrison Ventures, LLC, prior art match. Daniel doesn't smile. He doesn't need to. A clerk from the next window steps closer with a plastic tub of mail. She sees the screen, then us, then my son. She keeps walking. Witness, not audience. "Reputation," I say, quiet enough to ride under the air conditioner, "meets record." When a smear hits paper already stamped against it, do you swat at smoke or check the lock on the door behind you? Outside on the steps, the heat makes the rail too hot to lean on. I hand Daniel a minor key with a white tag labeled Go VHG Archive. He hangs it on a new hook in the truck cab under Labby A and Labby B, 3 in a row, not trophies, tools. My son lingers in the doorway, caught between sun and shade, watching a future that doesn't ask him in. I don't argue. I nod once to the clerk inside, then to Daniel. We walk. Gravel answers under boots that paid for the ground they cross. He came for my fortune. He watched me give it to the future. When the crowd has seen the handover and the keys hang where they belong, do you look back for closure or forward for work? Dusk slides across the bay like a lid closing gently. We lift the door half-height. The wind comes in with less grit, more cool. The engine runs at 900 RPM without being told. A sound you can live with. 3 young engineers lean in. One checks temps, one logs hours, one sketches airflow on a page already dirty with math. I hang a fresh tag, Lab A, DK. The key is on the hook next to Labby B and Gov Archive. Coffee steams in a chipped mug. First cup all day, that's hot when I drink it. Daniel updates the maintenance log. Clean entries, no drama. I wipe my hands and leave the rag folded the way my father did, corners aligned, ready for subsequent use. When the room finally sounds like work instead of war, do you fill the silence or let it teach everyone how to breathe? Whiteboard reads, Prototype B, thinner fins, altitude intake. We list what will happen over the next 6 weeks: new housing alloy, revised belt compound, and sensor redundancy. I draw a small mountain next to the words AIR runs thin. Daniel circles redundancy, writes 2 fails, stop, no heroics. Procedures keep people living. I slide the recorder slip into a slim frame and hang it by the office door, not as a trophy, as a reminder. Truth carries farther when it's printed by someone else. The youngest engineer asks if the hum will hold at cold start on a ridge road. We'll prove it, I say. We set the trip date on the calendar, 6 months from today. If the plan is clear and the mountain is patient, do you chase applause now or put your boots where the air will test you? I pour a second cup and feel my hand stop shaking. I write 2 names on the crew board under stewards, D. Kim, E. Harrison. Then I add a blank line. There will be others. We open the parts cage. Everything is labeled and has a shelf indicating where to rest. Daniel locks the repo and checks the access log. 2 badges pinged today. Visitor. They left when the rules asked them to. I check the disaster envelope. seal unbroken, tape still bright. The sun kisses the rim of the hills. The bay shadows get longer and gentler. I whisper a simple thank you to the room that believed before anyone else did. These walls, this bench, that hook. When gratitude fits in the space between two breaths, do you speak it loud or keep it as a habit your hands can follow? We power down to stand by. The hum steps down but doesn't vanish, just enough to say, I'm ready. I hang the shop master key last and click the board to close it. Voiceover. Even and plain. Blood ties don't grant claim. Work does. I face the lens once. If you stand for honest builders protecting their work, subscribe and share. Help the right hands keep the keys. Calendar holds on altitude test circled in red. The door lowers the last inches. The wind changes pitch and smooths out. A final look at the hook. Lab A. DK catching a line of gold light before it goes. Next episode, we test the engine where the air runs thin. When tomorrow promises thinner air and more genuine proof, do you sleep easily or sharpen the checklist one more time?